Mom, I'm serious. Can we go to the park?
Roads turned into rivers, boats being deployed in parking lots at the mall area. The region was overwhelmed with rain overnight, causing cities to declare emergencies and to shut down government offices. Driving is impossible on many roadways. The state has activated the Emergency Operations Center. Let the dryout begin. Good afternoon, I'm Renee Pasal. Thankfully, it seems that there's been no major injuries or deaths from the storm. There were some water rescues and close calls, though, and the damage is immense. In Duluth, the mayor declared a state of emergency this morning. We've seen the soaked ground break into pieces today as rains continued into the afternoon. Reporter Alan Hoagland is live, and here's some of the damage these storms have caused.
Oh, Renee, we're on East Skyline here, and we want to go right ahead and show you some of the just massive damage that we're seeing here. This is just a huge sinkhole. It's probably 15, maybe 20 feet deep, and at the bottom you can see there is a car. Now, as the rains fell, the earth decided to wash away, and over time it made the asphalt weak, and as it became weak, it dropped away. Now, this is just one example of what the Northland suffered today.
What are normally tame, calm Northland rivers erupt during torrential rains. Early Wednesday morning in Duluth, water gushes from an overwhelmed sewer system. Some brave souls try passing through deep standing water near Miller Hill Mall, but some don't make it. When the sun rises, it's much more clear how much damage the rain is really doing.
Can't believe how much water was coming down the hill. It looked like a lake just rolling down the hill at it.
During a break in the rain, Greg Vogt of Expert Tire tells us the road started cracking apart before his eyes.
Now, driving throughout Duluth, we're seeing roads collapse like this one right behind me. In some situations, it's taking a toll on cars. Look at this. The whole front end of this car sunk into the ground. The back end is left sticking up in the air.
Yeah, the road is a disaster around here.
Just behind their building, water stands about 3 feet deep, a car right in the middle of it. A few blocks away off the interstate, the water was even deeper, but now it's gone. Matt Kephart works a couple hundred feet away at an auto body shop.
The water was all the way up to the retaining wall over here. The dumps, I don't even know where the dumpster came from.
Left in its wake, garbage, mud, and even a waterlogged Tahoe.
Being an auto body guy, what do you say? What's this truck worth now?
It's totaled.
Now, the last information from the police department says that about 40 stretches of road, either in Duluth or near Duluth, are closed this afternoon. Obviously, Renee, not for reasons quite as extreme as here on Skyline.
Thank goodness. Thank you for that report, Alan. Mayor Ness calls the scene here within the last 24 hours unprecedented. He's applauding authorities for their efforts and calling on Duluth to unite.
I know that the citizens of Duluth are resilient. I know that people are already stepping up, helping their neighbors, offering their support and their interest in volunteering. And there will be plenty of opportunities for Duluthians and others to pitch in, roll up our sleeves, help clean up our city. And the city of Duluth will come back stronger than ever.
Police Chief Gordon Ramsey says there were a lot of close calls last night with people driving into standing water, but only minor injuries were reported. Ness says the first step to recovery is assessing the damage, which could take days or even weeks. From there, crews will be able to determine the state of roads and infrastructure and what needs to be done. He has spoken with our federal representatives and will be seeking disaster assistance from President Obama. Now, to report any damage to private property, you can simply dial 211. And to report any damage to public property, you can call 730-4357, which is also 730-HELP. Governor Mark Dayton has declared a state of emergency for St. Louis, Lake, Cook, Carlton, and Aiken counties. The move frees up additional state resources to help with flood response and allows commercial vehicle drivers to stay on the road longer than normal. The governor will come to Duluth tomorrow to see the damage and meet with Northland officials. The Fond du Lac area was evacuated early this morning, and many families took shelter at Duluth's First United Methodist Church. After a call from the Red Cross, the church opened its doors at 3:30 this morning. About 20 families who have been displaced by flooding are staying here. Volunteers say they're providing food and fellowship, allowing people to make phone calls, and simply trying to keep everyone safe and calm and together.
We will take very good care of people. We will entertain children, we'll have coloring, and we'll entertain kids. We will take care of, and if they have functional needs, special needs, we will take care of that too.
Volunteers are also working to prepare an overnight shelter. If you do plan on spending the night in a shelter, organizers recommend bringing your own pillow and air mattress if you have one. The town of Thompson and campers at J. Cook have been evacuated as well. The state says about 30 are now at the Scanlon Community Center, which has now been declared the evacuation site for that area. And this is what the folks in Fond du Lac had to deal with today. 250 people have been evacuated from the neighborhood. As you may know, it's a very low-lying area of town right next to the St. Louis River. Emergency crews drove very slowly through what they could to get out there to make sure people could get out safely. A near tragedy from all of the flooding, an 8-year-old boy is lucky to be alive after being swept about 6 blocks through a flooded culvert in Duluth. St. Louis County Undersheriff Dave Phillips says the boy suffered cuts, scrapes, and bruises, but is okay now. Phillips says the boy was swept into the culvert somehow near Proctor this afternoon and traveled about 6 blocks before he popped up down current. The undersheriff calls it a miracle out of this whole disaster. He did not know the boy's name at news time. Early this afternoon, traffic came to a screeching halt when the heavy rains prompted a mudslide on Trinity Road. Trees and mud broke away from the hill above the roadway just after noon today, attracting quite a few onlookers. The mud didn't hit anyone or any vehicles, but it made a pretty big mess there on Trinity. A sad day for the Lake Superior Zoo, which lost 14 animals in the flooding. The zoo says the barnyard animals were the main victims, including sheep and goats, who were washed away and drowned. But there were some other problems, including the 2 seals who floated with the rising water out of their Polar Shores exhibit. One ended up on Grand Avenue. Then there was even a bigger worry.
First primary concern was that if a harbor seal can get out, then a polar bear can get out. And we're sitting at 4:30 in the morning where it's pitch dark. And we brought in the fire department, and they had all their spotlights on the flood area.
Berlin, the polar bear was tranquilized and brought to safety. The otters and fox made it out okay too of that Polar Shores exhibit. And we'll have more on the zoo tonight at 6 o'clock. Douglas County is also dealing with flooding today, and officials have declared a state of emergency there as well. As you can see, there was a washout here at the entrance to Barker's Island. City parks are also submerged in standing water. Floodwaters closed most major roads and surrounded many homes. Police were actually having cars drive on the median of Highway 2 and 53 to get through the floodwaters this morning. The city is asking people with flood damage to call the number on your screen or send an email. We have more information on our Superior community page at WDIO.com. And amazingly, the sun did come out this afternoon for a while. Justin, thank goodness. We need things to dry out.
Well, it looks like we're going to see some drier weather here over the next week. Things will start to dry out tonight. We are going to see a little more sprinkle before that, but then as we get into tomorrow, much improved. Now, you can still see the weather headlines, and we're going to zoom into the little red dot area. That's where we're looking at the potential for that flash flooding to still continue. And you notice it's near the head of the lake from Superior, Oliver, Carlton, and even into the Cloquet areas. But notice, you take a look at the radar, and we still have a few sprinkles out there. Most of the heavy storms are off to the east right now, and we're going to be rather quiet, but you can see across the state that everything is mostly along that cold front that has slid through, and things are going to begin to clear out. Now you can see where the heavier band of rain went through, from Brainerd just to the west through Carlton County near the head of the lake along areas of the North Shore. So that's certainly the issue that we've been having, but we're still looking again, as we look at the future radar, at the potential for some light sprinkles. Tonight we'll show you some more images from what we've had coming up in just a little while.
All right, thank you, Justin. Now, one of our photographers hopped in a kayak this morning to get a close-up look near what's happening near Woodland. He's on St. Marie Street paddling around courtesy of a friend. You can see the water is as high as the tops of cars. People were outside checking out the damage and comparing notes about what happened.
There's a creek back there with any rainfall, any big rainfall floods the neighbors' backyards over there, and they just came over and just kept coming.
The Western Lake Superior Sanitary District says it's still evaluating the impact of the heavy rain. WLSSD says the major flooding is preventing staff from gathering details of overflows. It is urging people to stay away from overflows for health reasons. They're asking residents to report any overflow from a manhole cover by calling WLSSD at 722-3336, extension 301. The cities of Gilbert and Renshaw are urging residents to reduce water usage at this time. So to come on Eyewitness News, the sex abuse trial in Pennsylvania for a former football coach is almost done, and the defendant is not testifying. And overseas in Serbia, archaeologists are thrilled about a mammoth discovery. Literally, woolly mammoths. Stay with us.